How's it going, my fellow Endless? Do you know how much I've wanted to make this video ever since Netflix released a little behind the scenes teaser of the upcoming Sandman adaptation, and this just looks spectacular. Now, I know this is a behind the scenes thing, but as you probably are aware, even if you're an old-time Sandman fan or new, if you've watched it already or you're seeing the clips on screen right now, it's full of little teasers for Preludes and Nocturnes and the Dollhouse, which is the two graphic novels initially that are being sucked into that first season. So today, I'm gonna geek out. As you can tell, very high energy about this. As I said, I wanted to cover this earlier as of when it came out, but I'm the only guy running this channel, so there's so many videos for me to do. But as you know, guys, I'm going to be covering the Sandman with every little incremental detail like this up until its release. So if you're not subscribed and you're brand new here, make sure you subscribe, and I hope you go on to enjoy this video. And I'm going to try and go in order of what we see in the trailer, more or less, and just, yeah, point some things out that I think are just spectacular to see. I have so much hype for this show. It looks like, I know some people are a bit iffy about castings here and there, but like, all of that aside, for like those comments from people, this looks so good. So as a lot of you know, but some of you may not know, and I have a few videos on this, I may be popping up on the screen in case you aren't. The Sandman, of what you're seeing here, we get to see some actors like Gwendoline, Christie, who's playing Lucifer, Tom Sturridge. It centers around Morpheus, aka Dream, of the Endless. And he was imprisoned by occultists, of who one of the main ones in particular, Rodrick Burgess, but also cast as Charles Dance. I fanboyed over this already, but he is a perfect casting, and I can't wait to see him in that role, as well as some of the other castings we're to get into for what we actually get teased in this from Dr. Destiny by David Thewlis. We literally have teasers of that, as well as Johanna Constantine and some of these clips. Way more teasers than maybe you anticipated Netflix would even put in this little teaser behind the scenes clip. Now, we can't forget as well that this adaptation of the Sandman is going to be set in present day 2021. So in the comics, Dream is imprisoned for 70 years, but due to this slight change, it goes from 70 years to, I believe, 105 years, which is what Neil Gaiman has said. And we'll touch upon the set of Dream's imprisonment a little bit later in this video, but let's go into the props that we see on that table and throughout the video. Now, this right here, I mean, does this look like little furniture pieces that you'd put in a doll's house, maybe? I don't know about you, but I think that could be pertaining to that arc. Just a little guess there. Towards the beginning of this like feature part of the video where we're seeing the props and stuff, I just love the use of animatronics. I always screw that word up, animatronics, in things like this. It just blends like a nice, you know, it's like that Star Wars kind of feel. I don't think it's going to be exactly like that. I'm sure they'll probably add sprinkles of CGI. And I think a lot of people, I think Neil Gaiman even corrected this on his Twitter, thought that this was Matthew, the Matthewed Raven prop. And we do see Dream's Matthew Raven in just a second, but this one you're seeing at the beginning is actually Jessamy, obviously the first Raven of Dream. But just already this early into the little behind the scenes clip, I love the use and the effort they're going to build this world. But throughout the clip, as it unfolds, that just becomes more and more and more apparent. Later, towards the end of the trailer, but I'm just going to put it into this part where we see the other props, we do actually see the Raven, which is Matthew, because Matthew is all black, whereas that other Raven we just saw had a little bit of white to him, and that's Jessamy, and we see a couple of them there. Now, as some of you may know, yet others may not at the same time, Matthew is Matthew John Cable, who first appeared in Swamp Thing. Dream gave him the opportunity to be a Raven when he became a part, when he was in the dreaming as he was dying, but like, I don't know if he knew quite what he was getting into, because he didn't have the ability to become a Raven. He is a Raven, which is an offer of Dreams that he accepted. Now, I believe Matthew the Raven is being played by Patton Oswalt, and we've already gone over the castings in another video. Once again, I will leave my Sandman videos linked in the description below or in the cards above. But those Ravens aren't the only guys we see. We also see the adorable Goldie, who is Abel's little pet gargoyle, of who I believe is being played by Asim Chowdhury. And speaking of Abel, we also have Cain, as in, you know, Cain and Abel. And Cain also has his own little pet gargoyle, not so little as Goldie though, of whom is called Gregory, the one of whom you can see is larger in the background concept art. Now, around this point, on the bottom left concept art, you can actually see the creatures who protect the dreaming, the gatekeepers. Now, these are the creatures who permit those who can or cannot enter the dreaming on behalf of Dream/Morpheus himself. Now, I believe, if I remember correctly, it's a griffin, a wyvern, basically dragon, but not dragon, but wyvern, and a hippogriff. And yet again, cannot wait to see what, I mean, are they going to be done in, I doubt it's going to be done in a similar actual puppet approach to that of what we've seen with these ravens. More likely CGI in those cases, and I'm sure the CGI will be decent considering how much effort they really are pouring into all of this production. That is evident to see. But when it comes to other concept art that pertains to the larger scenes of Dream, Lucifer and stuff, we can actually see one very notable concept art, such as where Morpheus, Dream, and I need to choose one, was imprisoned by the occultist Rodrick, and the others of whom tried to summon death, but inadvertently ended up flukily getting Dream. But I kind of don't want to give away, I know a lot of people know that already, but there's certain things that this trailer actually gives away that I don't want to get too deep into the story of, just for newcomers to the story, because it really does feel like they're going to spit comic book pages to screen here, rather than massive deviations. I mean, I guess some of the cast is the biggest deviations, whereas the actual story itself seems to be very through and through to the comic / graphic novel itself of Preludes and Nocturnes / The Dollhouse. Now, this other concept art that you're seeing on screen, I believe, well, it's kind of obvious, is Lucifer's throne room. We can see a peek of what Gwendoline Christie looks like from behind here as Lucifer, with Dream in his long robes and very pale skin, long kind of stark hair coming out, and I believe we get a much better look at it when we're seeing Gwendoline Christie talking to the camera. Now, I don't believe her hair will actually be that long, and obviously Dream, when we see Tom Sturridge, he will have a wig as well, and I believe, as I've mentioned before in a previous video, Lucifer will probably be looking more like this angel from Constantine, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it's evident in the concept art there, and I know some people are iffy on this, but I really do feel like Gwendoline Christie's gonna kill it as Lucifer, and just seeing those scenes of Morpheus visit her in hell, or Lucy in hell, my God. Now, speaking of hell as well, I believe in another concept art we do see concepts of the gates of hell. Can you imagine what that is going to look like in the show? I mean, I know concept arts are often quite larger than life than what they actually decide to put into a show or a production, but I really do feel like that is going to be a really big wide shot. Obviously, a lot of CGI to get one of his items of power to meet Lucifer. That is really going to be mind-blowing. I feel like we're going to be taken aback by it, because I feel like, I know I'm fanboying right now, but I'm taken aback by this concept art in of itself. And we also get peeks into the Dreaming itself, as well as the Undercroft, which is where Dream was, you know, imprisoned for all of that time, of which we actually get to have a peek at the end, but I'm going to save that for them. Now, one of my most anticipated castings, David Thewlis, I always feel like I butcher that second name, as Dr. Destiny, aka John D, one of the guys who actually has Dream's items of power, if you will. We get another concept art of the 24-hour diner, and that is where Dr. Destiny will be chilling, if you will, with Dream's ruby, because that's the item of power that he has. As I said, I don't want to give away every minuscule detail for those who just want to go in completely blind, but I honestly just can't get over David Thewlis as Dr. Destiny, John D. I feel like he's gonna kill it. I can really see it. I can really see, you know, when you see a casting and you can just see the scene already. And speaking of that very item of power, we have the creator himself, the Overlord, Neil Gaiman, holding the prop of Dream, aka Morpheus's ruby. Now, other props that we see are Dream's pouch of sand. And how do I know this? Well, other than it obviously looks like the pouch is kind of labeled right there. Many of you know, a little bit of a teaser here, the pouch is yet again another one of Dream's powerful objects that he gets back on his mission to recover them, but that's likely where we're going to see Jenna Coleman's Johanna Constantine, who is more or less playing the part of John's role in the graphic novel, John Constantine, obviously. Johanna, I'm sure will, I guess, have got it at like a garage sale, or garage sale as we say here. I swear I'm getting freaking accented through speaking to so many Americans. Basically, as I said in my recent casting video of the casting updates, it's been flipped around. It's more or less a gender bend of John Constantine, all while being a new character of Johanna, who is his great-great-great-grandmother. I know some people think that John is very much so going to be involved, but and that, who knows, that is possible, but I actually don't think so. I truly feel like, okay, we're going to bring a new character in, his great-great-great-grandmother, but also do the exact same role as what, you know, John had in the comics with getting the pouch and Dream's quest to get his items of power back, the pouch being one of them, which is how he runs into him, in this case, Jenna Coleman's Johanna. The interesting thing is what Neil Gaiman has said with featuring some of her past, but also seeing what she would look like and being brought into the story in present day, and how that's achievable. So there's a lot of, as much as this is adaptation, as I always say, and as much as this does look like it's very much so spitting graphic novel panels out into the actual real live action screen, it's still an adaptation, so it's not fully copy and paste. And I'm all about some innovation with things like this, even though some people detest some casting decisions and whatnot. It's a very touchy subject. Now, this kind of surprised me. I mean, I know we saw some of the other props, but Dream's helm, like one of the other items of power, I really didn't, I mean, I knew it would look good, but it looks so much better than I ever thought it could. This is the very item that leads him to hell on his quest to recover it, since it was stolen by a little demon, if you will. Once again, cannot wait for that scene with Gwendoline Christie as some of the concept art that we've already covered earlier. We also get more teasers of the Dollhouse part of the arc, which is the second graphic novel that they're going to actually achieve getting to in this first season. For the serial convention at the Empire Hotel. Now, once again, I don't want to give anything away here, but let's just say that's where we meet a certain Corinthian, of whom is played by Boyd Holbrook, which I think, considering the character and the look that Boyd has, the roles he's had before, he is gonna absolutely nail that on their head. Can you imagine this scene as well? The serial convention. And for those of you who do not know what I mean by serial convention, I'm not talking about spoonful of cereal, I'm talking about cereal convention, and that's gonna be But lastly, guys, the Undercroft. The Undercroft looks incredible. Now, this is where Morpheus, aka Dream, is held for 105 years in this live-action adaptation. This just looks incredible to me, and I'm sure as many fans who are watching this, just like myself, are absolutely blown back by how bloody brilliant this looks. Can you imagine being Neil Gaiman himself in this moment? I mean, it's so cool that I really appreciate how they brought this out and actually seeing Neil go around set as well. I can only imagine what it's like to have one of your passions being brought to life like this in such a genuine and authentic way. Now, the little like prison glass ball, if you will, that is exactly where Dream was held when summoned by the occultists who were actually trying to summon death first, as I teased earlier. But when Rodrick kind of flukily screwed this up with little teases of those runes on the floor that we actually see in the video, he ended up catching Dream of the Endless instead of Death of the Endless. Which reminds me, by the way, when Rodrick Burgess, played by Charles Dance, goes to summon Death, he uses the Magdalene Grimoire, and we actually get to see Neil Gaiman flicking through the pages of the Grimoire, and that's just fantastic to see. Once again, another very brilliant looking prop straight out of the graphic novel. And the reason why, I mean, I'm so evidently excited here, I feel like one of the final parts of this little clip says it all, really. So at this part, we get to see Dream breaking free. This part in the graphic novel is when he breaks free out of his little freaking ball that it was kept in for 105 freaking years. But notice how they deliberately go side by side of the comic panel just to kind of signify to fans the comic accuracy that they're really striving for here with this show. I know I've said it already in this video, but it speaks for itself. And yeah, I don't want to, it sounds silly to say I don't want to overhype this show because I feel like I already have, but I don't feel like there is any overhyping this because I really feel like this show is going to have the potential to be one of those flagships, like truly. Now, I believe that is mainly everything. I do apologize if I may have missed something out. I mean, I know there was other little props like the dagger on the table. You could put that down to being maybe one of the occultists, and that might be used and a part of the Undercroft, who knows. But if there's anything that you noticed as well, I'd love for you to tell me down in the comments below. I welcome anything like that. This is a place of hype for the Sandman. So what did you guys think of this little teaser? I absolutely love that they did this. I think it signifies that we're going to get more little teasers like this to come. It's exciting seeing the actors speak with such excitement as well, like Tom Sturridge saying he was such an avid fan. So I think Neil Gaiman has even said himself, it's even better and more interesting to see actors who are acting on the show of something that they loved to read and enjoyed as a story themselves, and that's just so nice to hear. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and most importantly, subscribe for more Sandman coverage on this channel. If you want to follow me a little bit more, as usual, my links are pinned in the top pinned comment in the comment section, which is my comment to my Twitter, Discord server, and other good places like that. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you friggin' endless in the next video. Goodbye.